Hey guys, I'm Sage Valentine and I'm back here to review Fear the Walking Dead Season 4. I am so happy, you have no idea. I've been trying to review this show for 4 years. It has been tough. I've had viewers ask me, could you please review Fear? And I'm like, I don't know, because I really want to watch Fear and I want to focus on the show. However, I decided once this whole crossover, Survival Sunday, Fear, and Walking Dead event thing was announced at New York Comic Con, I said, you know what I should do? I should review this. But then part of me said, nah, because you don't know how it's going to be, because, you know, Season 3 was a little bit out there. Keep in mind, I watched all of Season 3, but I wasn't really feeling the whole, like, white supremacist type storyline, like a lot of people weren't. So I was really happy to see that they were going in a new direction and adding a character from The Walking Dead, but I was trying to figure out who it was going to be, and quite a few people thought it was going to be Abraham. And then when it was announced that it was Morgan, and I said, Morgan? So didn't we just get him on The Walking Dead? And then once I started really reading articles, blog posts, and like different interviews, I started getting more information on the crossover. But what really made me super excited about Fear the Walking Dead had to be that first trailer. I love it. It was amazing, and this episode that I just finished watching for the second time did not disappoint at all. I'm so glad that Morgan was chosen to move on, and I'm glad that his character was not killed off in The Walking Dead. So let's get down to this review. And on a side note, I know a lot of people don't like Fear the Walking Dead. Quite a few people basically voiced some sort of like anger towards the show, having subtitles in Spanish. They said the characters were all stupid, things like that. I never had a problem with any of that. I like the cast, I like the characters, so I'm cool with it. And I'm sticking with it for Season 4 and beyond, just like I am doing with The Walking Dead. So let's just get down to this review. This review is all about Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 1, entitled, What's Your Story? I've been looking forward to this season premiere. I like Fear the Walking Dead. Yes, the show has its faults, but to me it's okay. The idea to choose Morgan to make the jump from TWD to Fear made me experience a myriad of emotions, from surprise to confusion, to sadness, and then acceptance. I'm so happy that they did not kill Morgan off on TWD. They just moved him on to Fear, as it runs concurrently with The Walking Dead, and I hope that my gut feeling is correct and that the Fear crew will eventually, or what's left of them, meet up with the Walking Dead crew and do a real, true, like, collision course episode with all those characters in one episode. That would be amazing. I am not a big fan of Morgan's storyline in the comic books because of how it ends. There was a rumor going around that he was going to die in episode 14 of Season 8, and I didn't really want to talk about it on the channel until episode 14 aired and this season ended, so I can finally talk about it. I was so angry at that rumor. I said, I hope this is not how his storyline ends, and it's fantastic to see him continue on another show. I really like the actor Lenny James, and I've been a fan of his since Jericho. If you've never seen that show, please go watch it. You will like it a lot. Skeet Ulrich is like the main character. It's all about like what happens when it seems like the world's going to end. It's an amazing series. It only had 2 seasons, but they're pretty good. I never knew that he was English, and I'm talking about Lenny James, until his first interview for TWD. And I'm just like, he does such an amazing American accent like Andrew Lincoln does, that he surprised the hell out of me. And FYI, he was the main reason why I tuned into TWD in the first place. I was unfamiliar with the rest of the cast. I had seen, I think, Michael Rooker in different movies and TV shows, but I never knew his name. He was like one of those faces that popped up, like Luis Guzman. He was one of those people, but it's good to put like a face with a name. And again, I'm just super happy that Lenny James is on Fear. So let's get down to this review. Get back on track. My favorite part of the episode is the end, when it's finally revealed that Nick, Strand, Alicia, and Luciana are alive. Apparently, it's the future, meaning when we left them, that was the past. It is actually the present. My favorite part of the episode was the ending, where we were able to see Nick, Strand, Alicia, and Luciana appearing very rough and feral. They've been through a lot, and I can't wait to see what that a lot experience was. Also, I can't wait to find out what happened to Troy, Madison, and most of all Salazar, and whether or not Diana, who's played by actress Edwina Findlay, will pop up again. Diana was basically like Fear's Michonne, and a lot of people liked her character. I know I did, and I hope that she pops up again. As far as the timeline, at first I was confused as to where Morgan was and at what part of the timeline was he. And once I realized where it was, I was surprised and happy. I really like the character John Dorie. He's a bookworm, a movie file, likes candy, and he seems like a nice guy and just really needs a friend at this point. And I'm so glad that actor Garrett Dillahunt is finally a part of the TWD universe. If you're like a big fan, or if you're somebody who follows the news in regards to the series, you know that there was a rumor that Garrett was playing Negan. I feel like that rumor was started more by fans than anything else, because they saw a picture of him reading, I think, the compendium or something, one of the Walking Dead compendiums. It's like a collection of maybe about 50, 60 different issues, maybe 70. I'm not too keen on the number, even though I do own all 3 compendiums. And people were just like, why does he have this Negan thing? Is he playing Negan? And it was mostly, I think, started by the fans, but I'm just glad he's a part of the TWD universe. And I like how Morgan made his debut, and how the title of the episode was also a line that John Dorie says or asks Morgan, which is, "What's your story?" I like the new title segment. No shade to the original one, which I thought was pretty awesome as well. But this one really signifies that the story has changed and they have moved on to that form of chaos, even though I'm sure there's some chaos going on right now, but still. They're in Texas at this point. I'm getting a Texas vibe, honestly. Now, we are sent back to Morgan at the dump, and Jesus, Carol, and Rick try to convince him to come back to Team Family, Alexandria, Kingdom to Hilltop. But really, Morgan has changed for the better. He says he's not the me he was anymore, and he just wants to venture out on his own. I like how he drifted from one show to the other in such a way that wasn't chaotic. It was just like a smooth, seamless transition. It's like a scene of him like walking, then running, and then poof, he's on another show. And Morgan was right when he said in TWD that he does not die. He just moved on to another show. I also noticed that Morgan put on the exact same clothes that he had on in season 5 when he popped up. Because remember, he was following Team Family, because I think Rick was leaving him different messages while he was traveling. Rick was traveling with Michonne and Carl, and he was telling Morgan where to go. Because remember, essentially, he, in the beginning of the TWD series, after Rick left Morgan, he left Morgan the walkie-talkie, and remember that whole issue came back up in season 4 Whereas Morgan was all upset when he finally saw Rick again. It felt like Rick had abandoned him. So when we see Morgan again, Morgan is all right, and he's following the trail that Rick left. And he had on like this beige jacket and these clothes. So I remembered the clothes, and this one girl on Twitter was like, how do you remember the clothes? I'm like, dude, I'm a fan of TWD, Fear TWD, so I pay attention to everything that's going on, clothes and all. And I've watched these episodes more than once because I review them for this channel. So now I understand the whole meaning of you know what you have to do. It meant that Morgan had to essentially go. He had to essentially leave the group in some way, shape, or form. So it wasn't that he had to die. He just had to leave. I really like seeing Morgan's journey. Morgan came upon this dying man. He was lying down in his car. He had like some sort of wound on his leg. It looked like a bite or a scratch. And Morgan was going to leave him with like some alcohol and some bandages, and the man turned him away, and I felt so sorry for that guy. I like how we were able to see Morgan's perspective as far as how he ended up meeting John Dorie. Morgan is really just passing through, as he said, and John offered him candy, was trying to do anything to keep Morgan there. I guess he was very lonely. He asked Morgan if he had seen a woman with a vintage pistol like the one John had, and the woman's name was Laura. As I said before, John just wants a friend. He seems very lonely. So Morgan refuses his hospitality and tries to venture out alone, only to come upon a camp with like a lantern. I think there was like a tent. And these idiots knocked him over the head, and they try to rob him. Then John comes to help him. John is such a brave soul. And all of a sudden this truck pulls up, and this lady is driving it, and she tells this one guy, Leland, who is the main guy in this little robbing group, that she likes new people. Her name is Al, which is short for Althea. She somehow knows Leland, but she's not like cool with him, and she bargains for Morgan and for John Dorie. Al's truck has this sweet gun rig on it. So cool. Morgan, after all is said and done, wants to leave, but Al says that Morgan and John owe her for saving their lives. And then we see these rattlesnakes like on the side of the road, or there's one rattlesnake, and that's when I realized like this story is taking place in Texas. All Al wants from Morgan and John is to interview them, because apparently at one point she was a journalist. So John's story is that he was alone in a cabin somewhere, and Laura showed up. She liked licorice, and essentially he ends up liking candy and licorice because he wasn't really a big candy guy before he met her. He and Laura got split up, and that whole story is not a happy story. Now, Morgan, it's his turn to be interviewed. He doesn't want to be interviewed. He wants to leave, but John stops him. He gives him a pair of clean socks that have popcorn on them. It's really cute socks. John realizes something is up in the area. All of a sudden, Leland comes upon Al, because at this time, it's light out, because it was dark when they first saw each other, Leland and Morgan and John and Al. Now it's like light out. And let's see. Leland's associates come upon Morgan and John, and I'm just like, oh God, what is about to happen? This does not look good. Leland and his men basically want Al's truck. They end up disarming John, but Morgan and John end up getting the jump on them. Al tries to go into her truck to grab the lever to start shooting, but she's overpowered by Leland. Then it's this whole battle of us versus them versus the walkers, and this herd of walkers is let loose from this trailer. Al reveals that she has the car keys, and she throws them, and Leland goes after the keys and ends up getting bit by a snake, probably a rattlesnake more than likely. And I'm just like, that bite is probably going to kill him before the walkers do, especially if that snake is venomous. Morgan gets shot in the leg by some dude on the roof that he ends up battling. The guy falls off the roof. Morgan helps him, hits him in the belly, then they fall straight through the roof of the trailer. That dude got eaten alive. Morgan put a grenade in this walker's mouth and ducked into a tub. The trailer blew up. Then Morgan, John, and Al meet up. They make it to the truck. Well, I think Al makes it back to her truck. Leland's inside. He hits her with the door. Apparently, Al threw the wrong keys on purpose to distract him. John and Morgan seem like they make a really great team. So then Al makes it back to her truck. Leland's inside. He hits her with the door. Apparently, Al threw the wrong keys on purpose to distract him. John and Morgan seem like they make a really great team. Leland won't have to worry about that snake bite. Leland will no longer have to worry about that snake bite because the zombies get him. Al's gun rig on her truck is so awesome. She just takes down all the walkers like it's nothing. We learn that John calls the zombies or the walkers the past. Leland will no longer have to worry about that snake bite because the zombies get him. Al's gun rig on her truck is so awesome. She just takes down all the walkers like it's nothing. We learn that John calls the zombies or the walkers the past. Morgan agrees to tell Al his story. He tells her where he came from. It was a safe place with good people. There was a fight. They won. They left. And he left before they left. Okay. Morgan agrees to tell Al his story. He came from a safe place that had good people. They had a fight with a bigger group. Morgan's group won. He left long before he physically left, but he won't go any further. And then he tries to flip the script on Al, asking her where she got her van, why her interviews are important. And when she doesn't answer, Morgan's just like done. So he's like, I'm going to continue on by myself. And did I mention Morgan got shot in the knee? Because I think I forgot about that. Yeah, that dude on the roof shot him in the knee and Morgan's just kind of hobbling around. Morgan says he loses people, then he loses himself. That's the whole reason why he left his group. And Morgan continues on by himself. And then he comes upon that car where that man that was dying was in. It's empty. And Morgan sees a walker up the road. And as he's trying to make himself venture towards that car because his knee is all messed up, he's kind of dragging his leg, two more walkers wake up. I call them the Sleeping Beauty walkers, and they follow Morgan. Morgan is in pain. He can barely walk. He is overcome and he falls down, and then John comes to the rescue, takes down the walkers, and helps Morgan make his way to that walker and realize it's the man from the car, and Morgan puts him down and then buries him out of respect. John said that he's so... Morgan agrees to tell Al his story. He came from a safe place that had good people. They had a fight with a bigger group. Morgan's group won. He left long before he physically left, but he won't go any further. And then he tries to flip the script on Al, asking her where she got her van, why her interviews are important. And when she doesn't answer, Morgan's just like done. So he's like, I'm going to continue on by myself. And did I mention Morgan got shot in the knee? Because I think I forgot about that. Yeah, that dude on the roof shot him in the knee and Morgan's just kind of hobbling around. Morgan says he loses people, then he loses himself. That's the whole reason why he left his group. And Morgan continues on by himself. And then he comes upon that car where that man that was dying was in. It's empty. And Morgan sees a walker up the road. And as he's trying to make himself venture towards that car because his knee is all messed up, he's kind of dragging his leg, Two more walkers wake up. I call them the Sleeping Beauty walkers, and they follow Morgan. Morgan is in pain. He can barely walk. He is overcome and he falls down, and then John comes to the rescue, takes down the walkers, and helps Morgan make his way to that walker and realize it's the man from the car, and Morgan puts him down and then buries him out of respect. John said that he's so glad that I believe it was he and Al were able to find Morgan. So pretty much Morgan agrees to travel with John and with Al. John reveals that Al took him back to his truck. The truck wouldn't start, so now he's traveling with Al so that he can find Laura and Al can continue to interview him. Morgan's just like, I'm here for the ride till my leg gets better and then I'm going to go on. But we all know Morgan's going to continue on with them. It is what it is. These three are in the truck. They're riding down the road. They come upon a girl. And I'm just like, who is this girl? And something inside of me was also saying, I think that's Alicia. When they come upon the girl, after they pop out of the truck and everything, we get to see that it's Alicia. And Alicia just looks different. She looks feral. She just looks a little bit more worn than she did when we saw her at the end of season 3. The next thing you know, Luciana, Strand, and Nick pop up. And the questions are going off in my head. I'm like, where's Madison? Where's Troy? Will we see Diana again? Where the heck is Salazar? What happened? How are they separated? I'm sure these questions are going to be answered, but the point is, I wanted this episode to be 2 hours long. I get that it was a crossover episode, but I want to see episode 2 so bad because I want to know what's going to happen next. I completely enjoyed this crossover Survivor Sunday event. It was absolutely amazing, and I hope that the writers bring both casts together in an episode so that we get to see them meet each other and face something big, because I do believe both shows will converge at some point. But you all take care. Let me know what you thought about episode 1 of season 1 of Fear the Walking Dead. And yes, I will be reviewing the entire season because I do need something else to review besides Big Brother. So I love you all. Take care, and I'll be back again to review episode 2 of Fear the Walking Dead. Until next time, I love you guys. Bye, guys. Bye.